Hi, friends. So today we're going to continue discussing our book series unit for Reader's Workshop. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. All right. So we're on session 3 today, and we're talking about how series book readers notice similarities in their characters across a series. So, series means book 1, maybe there's a second book, okay? So how are they the same in this book than this book? Okay, how is Frog and Toad? How are they in this book versus how are they in this book, right? So you can compare characters across books in the series. So, do you remember that there aren't just 2 of you reading your series? There's another. Oh well, unfortunately, because of the situation, we actually don't have that going on. But I'm sure that there are many of you that are reading the same books. Maybe you guys are reading different books. Maybe you guys are reading books that are kind of the same, kind of different. But I'm sure you guys do remember how you remember how you met in a goal club in our last unit of study. We had a club and you guys put some goals together and stuff like that. Do you guys remember that? I remember that. I think we had fluency club. We had, I think it was a comprehension club, one of those. But I'm sure, do you remember that, right? So in series book clubs, they're the same. You can discuss your specific series, your book series. Or in this case, since we're not together, you can discuss your series with people around you in your home. So when you finish the book you're reading, you'll have a chance to switch books out. Since we're not in person, you can always just talk to each other, discuss, okay, maybe this book, that book. What book do you recommend, Ms. Ortiz? Whatever. So let's see. So today I want to teach you that when you read a bunch of books across a series, sometimes you'll notice things about the character that are the same in the book that are the same in book after book. So you might notice how the character is in one book, and maybe in the next book you read in the same series, maybe you notice how maybe they're acting a little different, maybe they're acting the same, okay? So if I read one book about Junie B. Jones, maybe the next book she'll act a little differently. Maybe she'll be less sassy or whatnot. So thumbs up if you're clubmates or yourself, if you have found something about your character. Okay, did you find something that's similar in the one book? That maybe you already started reading another book? Did you notice something that's the same in both of those books you read in the series? What did you notice? So series books are pretty predictable. Picking up a series book is a lot like tuning in to watch a new episode of your favorite TV show. The characters are often the same and the things they do are often the same. So let's compare one book to maybe one episode, right? So for example, an episode of SpongeBob, right? Maybe in one episode, he's acting this way. Okay, in episode 2, is he acting the same or is he acting different? Those are conversations you can have, the same conversations you can have in books. In this book, how was the character acting in this book? Okay, this other book, how were they acting in this book? So let's start a new story about Frog and Toad. Remembering when readers read a bunch of books across a series, they often notice things about the character that are the same in each book. So we've read Days with Frog and Toad, I believe, and we're going to read another book about Frog and Toad. So let's be on the lookout for things that are the same in the next story. So unfortunately, we don't have partners, but I want you guys to pay close attention to the ways Frog is the same in this next story and how Toad. So how are they the same in this story? Okay, how are they the same from this story than the story we read a few days ago? Okay, let's think about the similarities that they have within each book. All right, so this is a new book. Frog and Toad went out to fly a kite. They went to a large meadow where the wind was strong. Our kite will fly up and up, said Frog. It will fly all the way up to the top of the sky. Toad, said Frog. I will hold the ball of string. You will hold the kite and run. Toad ran across the meadow. He ran as fast as his short legs could carry him. The kite went up in the air. It fell to the ground with a bump. Toad heard laughter. 3 robins were sitting in a bush. That kite will not fly, said the robins. You may as well give up. Toad ran back to Frog. Frog, said Toad, this kite will not fly. I give up. Oh, I noticed something that's the same about Toad in this book, just like he was in the other book. I wonder if you noticed. So are any of you noticing if that is the same? I want you to think about it. What is the same in this book about the characters that is the same in the other book? What do you think? So, I didn't hear it, but I'm sure a lot of you said that Toad is giving up, right? He has a problem and he's not trying to fix it, just like in the other story, Tomorrow, right? So in the other book, he was like, he didn't want to fix his messy room. And in this problem, he didn't want to fix the problem about the kite. So he's just being lazy again. Let's read on. We must make a second try, said Frog. Wave the kite over your head. Perhaps that will make it fly. Toad ran across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. Have you noticed anything about Frog? Is he doing something that feels the same as the first story? I want you to think about this. I'll give you some time to think. How is Frog the same, doing something that is the same in this story and in the last story? So I'm sure a few of you said that Frog isn't letting Toad give up. Just like Toad didn't let Frog give up about cleaning his room, he's not letting Toad give up about the kite, right? So Frog isn't letting Toad give up, just like he didn't let Toad push off his house chores until tomorrow. I'm sure some of you also said that Frog is trying to solve the problem, just like he did in the last book. We must make a second try, said Frog. Wave the kite over your head. Perhaps that will make it fly. Toad ran across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. The kite went up in the air and then fell down with a thud. What a joke, said the robins. That kite will never get off the ground. Man, those robins are kind of mean. Toad ran back to Frog. This kite is a joke, he said. It will never get off the ground. We have to make a third try, said Frog. Wave the kite over your head and jump up and down. Perhaps that will make it fly. Toad ran across the meadow again. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. The kite went up in the air and crashed down into the grass. That kite is junk, said the robins. Throw it away and go home. It seems like Toad is feeling very frustrated at this point. He was frustrated by all the chores and Tomorrow. I wonder if Toad is always easily frustrated, but Frog feels very calm. It seems like Frog always feels calm and happy. So in both books, it seems that Toad was always frustrated. Just like he was frustrated about cleaning his room, he was frustrated about the kite, but Frog was always very calm. He was calm on how he approached his Toad's bedroom, and he was calm about the kite. So it's time for you to go off and continue in your series or your book. As you start your new book, maybe you might start a new book, you can expect that there will be lots that is the same. When you find those things, mark them with a Post-it note if you have them. So let's just review real quick. Series readers become experts on characters. We collect information about the main characters, pay attention to how characters respond to problems, and notice the things that are the same across the series, right? If you don't have a series book, that's totally fine. You might look across the book and the book might have parts that the character is still acting the same way. So what you will be doing today. So what are some things in my book that are the same? Okay, so in your book, if you do not have a series book, this is what you're doing. For example, how are the characters the same throughout the book? How about the setting? Okay, how is it the same? Okay, was the character sad throughout your book? Were they happy throughout the book? If not, tell me how they were different. How did they change or how did they stay the same? Hopefully, if you have a series book, I want you to think about how is this book in your series similar to another book in the series? If you're in my group 4 for the Reading A through Z book, you can easily do this because you've read about Rose, Dink, and Josh in the Reading A through Z Mysteries, The Deadly Dungeon, and The Invisible Island, okay? How are the characters the same in that one book versus this book, okay? If you don't have a series book, okay, how is your character the same throughout the book? Does that make sense? I'm trying to meet you where you are. But that's what you're doing today. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. I'm not holding you too hard against it. I know some of you guys might not have a book, If you don't have a series book, just tell me, how is the character the same throughout the book, okay? Character or setting. I prefer you talk about the character. And if you have a series book, tell me, how are they the same in this book versus this book, okay? You could always use the Frog and Toad book. That's totally fine. I understand that. But I'd rather you not, just because I basically did that. All right, and that's what you're doing today. If you have any questions, shoot me a message on Class Dojo, and I'll get to you as soon as possible. Have a great day.